They accidentally drained my bank account to cover a loan for my sister and called it a family sacrifice. My dad shrugged it off, saying he mixed up the accounts, just a simple mistake. My mom, barely above a whisper, told me they thought I'd understand. I didn't buy it. So, I asked for the bank's security footage. It showed all three of them involved. I stayed quiet. No confrontation. I just filed a report, froze the accounts, and locked down access. That same evening, my phone blew up. My mom called 17 times. My sister texted me, saying, "We're family." I just smiled, knowing what was really going on. It all started with a group text, "Family dinner Sunday." Casual. Just us. Just us. Those words always set off a red flag in my mind, especially when food and family are involved. Last time they said, "just us," I ended up paying a $600 sushi bill and getting blamed for making my sister's boyfriend feel emasculated just because I asked what he did for work. But yeah, totally casual. I showed up 5 minutes early, rookie move. The house was already buzzing. Cars lined the street like it was a neighborhood garage sale for anthropology majors. My sister's new Audi gleamed under the streetlights, parked right out front like a trophy. She doesn't work, at least, not in any job that earns money the usual way. I walked inside. Nobody looked up. "Hey," I said. My mom turned from the kitchen, her voice flat, not warm or cold, just stating facts like she was telling me the weather. "You made it," she said. I glanced at the clock. 7. I asked. "No, 6:56, she replied, eyes on the microwave. "Want to leave your shoes by the back door?" My dad asked from the couch without even looking at me. "The back door, the one next to the laundry and the old dog bowls." I took a deep breath. "Sure." The living room looked like a catalog of emotionally repressed wealth. Neutral colors everywhere. Every surface was decorated with glass vases filled with eucalyptus. My brother-in-law sat nearby, sipping from what looked like a whiskey glass, but probably just lemon water, maybe mixed with the tears of whoever staged this casual family gathering. They were already seated when I entered the dining room. 10 people, 3 candles burning, and 4 place cards written in fancy metallic cursive. My name wasn't on any of them. I stood there, waiting for someone to notice me. My mom glanced up and said, "Oh, we didn't know if you'd join us for dinner. But we made extra." Made extra. Like I was a maybe. An afterthought. Like a baked potato no one ordered but microwaved just in case. I smiled. "Should I sit on the floor or?" My sister laughed. "Oh, come on. We saved you a seat near the kitchen. Right by the wine fridge." Technically true. Also right next to the trash bin. And the swinging door they kept bumping with their hips. I sat down. The chair creaked as if protesting. Then it came. Mid-bite, my dad leaned over. "So, how's your account doing? Still investing in that? What is it? Index something?" I nodded. "Index funds?" "Yeah." He chuckled. "Good. Because your sister's loan is up for renewal. Maybe you two can talk after dinner. Family helping family, right?" My fork froze halfway to my mouth. Nobody else even blinked. My mom passed the salad. My sister poured herself another glass of sparkling cranberry like this was any ordinary Tuesday. I stayed quiet. I just smiled. Because I've learned that silence holds the real power. After that dinner, memories started flooding back. Not just that night, but the entire pattern. Every little favor that stacked up into a financial system where I was the only one putting in money, and everyone else just knew exactly where the ATM was. It all started with a phone call. "Sweetheart," my mom said in that voice, the one she uses when she's about to ask for something but wants it to sound like she's giving me a gift. "We've started a little family safety net. Just something small. Everyone's chipping in." Everyone. Which, in my family's language, meant me. I sent $2,000, telling myself it was a one-time gesture, not a habit. 2 days later, she texted. "We opened a shared account. For simplicity." From that point on, I became the family's invisible payroll. Monthly. Quiet. No reminders needed. I paid my sister's tuition, $6,042 every semester. My name was listed on the student portal. She never asked how it got there. I covered her rent too, $1,400 a month, plus $3,100 in move-in costs, because apparently, the apartment gave her bad vibes until she upgraded the lights and bought a mattress that came in a designer box. Once, she messaged me. I didn't have time to set up renter's insurance. Can you just Venmo it? I did. $382. No emoji. No thanks. Then came the car. A 2008 Toyota Corolla. Apparently, it's mine now. I only found out when I got a parking ticket in the mail. She'd accidentally put the registration under my name when renewing. Thought it was still your old one, was the explanation. They must have used saved info. Dad needed a new TV to calm his nerves. $799 for a 65-inch screen, he said. At least you'll have something decent to watch when you visit. I paid for their anniversary dinner, $620. They promised they'd cover the next one. There hasn't been a next one. They went to Disneyland to reconnect as a family. I paid. My souvenir? A fridge magnet that said, "Family is forever." I started noticing odd charges. $780 at some mind and body healing center. I asked my mom. She said it was for her personal yoga coach. My spine's been tight. $1,200 for life coaching sessions for my dad. He said it was about redefining his legacy. $390 for a costume rental. A unicorn suit for my nephew's birthday party. $149 per month. There was this subscription to a wine box. When I asked about it, she just said, "I don't actually drink it. The bottles are pretty." That's when it hit me, I wasn't really helping. I was funding their lifestyle. When I brought it up, they acted like I was the one ruining the mood. Dad's response? Well, someone has to be the adult here. Good thing it's you. Mom said, "You've always been so generous. We're proud of that." Sister chimed in, "I'd help too, but my credit card's frozen." Never once a thank you. Just the silent message that my success belonged to the whole family. Then there's one I'll never forget. I was 14. Won a science award, got my photo in the local paper. Brought it home proud. Dad looked at it and said, "You think you're better than everyone now?" I said nothing. He added, "Maybe you're smarter, but you'll never be stronger than me. Remember that." He never congratulated me. Not then, not ever. So when I saw that $12,000 withdrawal for the loan payment, I wasn't surprised. Just exhausted. I called him. "What's this?" I asked. "Oh," he said like I caught a typo. "Must have been a mix-up. I meant to use our account. It was for your sister. She needed help with her loan. Mom was in the background. We thought you'd understand. It's already done and it's for family." I said nothing. That night, I requested all the account activity and bank footage. The next morning, I froze the accounts. No warning. No heads up. Then at 9:04 p.m., my phone blew up with 17 missed calls from Mom. My sister texted, "We're family." I replied, "That's exactly why I had to set boundaries." Then I turned off notifications and went to bed. I watched the bank footage like people watch horror movies, leaning in, eyes dry, waiting for the monster to jump out, and still shocked when it did. There they were. Dad in his navy windbreaker, the one he claims is just broken in, not old. Mom with her oversized purse, the one she calls timeless, rifling through it like she was searching for her conscience. Sister wearing fake designer sunglasses indoors, scrolling her phone with the focus of someone booking an Airbnb for a weekend she won't be paying for. They were at the counter. The banker smiled, clearly prepped for this. Papers were passed around. Sister signed first, like she'd done it before. Dad leaned over and said something that made all three of them laugh. I rewound. He won't care. He's stable. Reliable. He doesn't mind helping, Mom added. That's what makes him the good one. Sister agreed. He should be proud we trust him with this. Trust. Like quietly taking $12,000 from my account without asking was some kind of love language. I paused the video and leaned back. Let the silence do the screaming. That night, I logged in, transferred every cent from the shared account to a new one. Put a full hold on it. changed every password, blocked their devices from logging in. It took me 11 minutes to wipe out 3 years of just helping out. At 8:43 p.m., my phone lit up, call from mom. Declined. Another. Declined again. 17 calls in total. No voicemails. No texts. Just frantic dialing. At 9:06 p.m., a text from mom. You've ruined everything. Why would you do this to us? At 9:14 p.m., sister texted. You're disgusting. We're family. You're supposed to be there. Always. I turned off notifications again. Made dinner. Ate pasta that I actually tasted for once. Slept so soundly I didn't dream. 7 days of silence passed, then my phone rang. Just his name. No emojis. No group chat context. I answered. Curiosity is a dangerous thing. You busy Saturday night? He asked. Why? There's a fight. Middleweight. Big one. I figured as much. Things had been tense. Maybe we just watched two guys beat each other senseless, he added, trying to sound casual, like men do. Said yes. I wanted to see what guilt looked like under fluorescent bar lights. We met at a local dive, the kind that smells like cheap ketchup and broken promises. Sticky floors. No menus. Just laminated regrets. He was halfway through a Bud Light and didn't stand when I walked in. Just nodded to the seat. We sat, watching the fight in silence for 5 minutes. Two men circling each other on the screen. Fists up. Mouths shut. Then he said, You know, I envy you. I blinked. You've got the money. The job. The calm. I spent my whole life scrambling to pay bills. You make plans. I said nothing, just sipped my beer. I want to live, he said. Not like this. Not hand to mouth. Just once. To feel what it's like not to worry. Still nothing from me. I thought maybe, now that he's in a better place, maybe it's his turn to take care of the family. I looked at him straight in the eye. You want me to fund your lifestyle? He shook his head, like a tired coach explaining a loss. Not fund. Carry. With dignity. With respect. We stared each other down until the screen cut to commercial. I raised my beer. To honesty. We drank in silence. He looked relieved. I mourned a man who wasn't dead. Just permanently unreachable. We didn't talk after that. He probably thought a couple beers and a half-hearted confession would wipe the $12,000 debt off his conscience. But guilt isn't a credit card. You can't just swipe and hope to get forgiveness. So I opened a new chat. No emojis. No greetings. Just one word for the title. Clarification. Capital C. No emoji. It sat there like a loaded weapon on my phone. I didn't say anything. No hi. No opening line. There were just 3 files. The first was a PDF, bank documents for a second checking account opened in my name. Except it wasn't quite my name. It had a middle name, Nathaniel. Which I don't have. Never have. But apparently I do now, when it's time to steal. The address matched mine. The signature? Didn't. The second file was a screenshot, an email from HR at work. Confirming receipt of your bonus. Funds deposited into account ending in -2,410 as requested via signed instruction. I'd never asked for that. The third message wasn't even a file. Just one line. Just wanted to confirm who filled this out on my behalf. I locked my phone, flipped it face down, and went to boil water for tea I didn't want. 10 minutes passed. Nothing. Sister, wait. That wasn't me. That was Dad's idea. 2 dots. Then 3. Typing. Stopped. Typing again. Mom, we didn't mean harm. We thought you wouldn't find out. We just needed space. A bit of breathing room. I read all the messages and said nothing. I waited. Then I sent one last file, the police report. Formal. Attached as already _submitted.pdf. Caption, just keeping you informed. Then I muted the chat. No reply. Not a single one. 3 hours later, the doorbell rang. I wasn't expecting food. I don't have friends who do surprises. It was her. My grandmother. standing on the porch in that same coat she's had since the Bush administration. Same brooch. Same calm face that's outlived 2 husbands, family betrayals, and a kitchen fire she put out with baking soda and prayer. I let her in. No words yet. She sat at my table like she belonged there. Which, to be honest, she did. I heard what happened, she said. I nodded. I know your father was wrong. I'm not going to argue that. But... She looked down at her hands. He's still my boy. I didn't respond. Not out of spite. Just because I had nothing left, no words, no energy, no fight. I'll cover the amount. All of it, she said. I'll cash out the bonds. You withdraw the complaint. Still silence. She reached into her purse and pulled out a thick, folded envelope. I've done this before. Covered for him. You were too little to remember. I stayed quiet. I think I knew where this was headed. I used to go hungry so he could eat. She sold her wedding band to pay off his first car loan. Took out credit cards to clear his debts. Spent Christmases hiding from collectors. She paused, then quietly added, and he never said thank you. Not once. A memory hit me like a slap. 5 years old. Sitting at her tiny kitchen table. She was making soup, barely. Water, salt, 2 potatoes, and dignity. She gave me a full bowl. And she ate crusts of bread soaked in tap water. Pretending that's what she wanted. Dad stormed in furious. Where's the PlayStation, Ma? You said you'd figure it out. He was holding the keys to the brand new bike she'd bought him on layaway. I'm working on it, she said. You always say that. You're useless, he snapped. Then slammed the door. I remember asking her, Grandma, why don't you eat? She smiled like it was a magic trick. I already did, sweetheart. You just didn't see. Back in my apartment, present day, she was crying. I'm not asking you to forget. Just don't let him fall. Not like this. I walked to the counter, poured her a glass of water, and sat down across from her. Looked her in the eye. You did everything you could. He didn't care then. He won't care now. She bit her lip. Said nothing. I finished. This time, let him find his own way out. I'm not fixing it for him. She looked at me long and hard. Then nodded once. Deeply. And stood up. No hugs. No drama. Just quiet. She closed the door behind her. I sat alone. Phone off. Inbox full. Heart finally flat. Not angry. Not vindicated. Just done. We didn't talk after that night. He probably thought a few beers and a half-hearted confession could erase years of taking. That silence would smooth over a signature I never gave. That a shared drink meant shared delusion. It didn't. I waited. And when the invitation came, I knew I'd go. Not because of them. Because of her. It was a voicemail. Her voice steady and gentle. Like from a time when people still left the lights on for each other. I'd love to see you on my birthday. It's nothing big. Just cake. Come for me. Not for the noise. So I did. The apartment looked exactly like I remembered it. Same chipped porcelain swans. Same plastic tablecloth. Same forced attempt at joy. A gold 80 balloon hovered in the corner. Despite her being 76. Rounding up, that's our family specialty. Look who finally decided to show up, my sister beamed. Strutting in sequins and nerves. I nodded. Didn't say a word. Inside, Mom was already arranging chairs like she was orchestrating grief. Dad stood near the drinks as always. Acting like we just returned from war and now everything needed to be quietly fine. I took a seat and watched them buzz around. They smiled like nothing had happened. Like silence could erase history. We made it through awkward cake prep. Singing. Clapping. Somehow, they made her birthday feel like an intervention, for me. Then, while the candles still burned and forks were in the air, I stood. I brought gifts, I said. No wrapping. No bows. Just a navy blue folder. I opened it. 3 plain envelopes inside. Labeled, the sister. I handed them out. One by one. What is this? Mom asked, cautious. A record, I said. Of what's been borrowed. With terms for return. They opened the papers. Each showed their total. Weekly rates, Breakdowns. Mom owed $300 a week. Dad, $300 a week. Sister, $500 a week. Everything was based on their real incomes. Everything calculated. Clean sheets with transfers logged. Screenshots included. Payments I made for them marked as debts. Gifts reclassified. I wasn't asking for miracles. I just said, it's time you learn what it feels like to contribute. My sister scoffed. This is disgusting. No, I said, still calm. The disgusting part was the fake account. Dad's face tightened. This is humiliation. I shrugged. No. This is balance. I didn't raise my voice. Didn't accuse. I just put a mirror on the table and let them see themselves. Silence fell like a dropped glass. They stared at the invoices like the numbers might rearrange themselves into apologies. My mom flipped pages twice, hoping for a punchline. My dad folded his papers neatly, like bad news deserved origami. My sister read hers under her breath, then looked at me like I'd just crashed her fantasy. You seriously want us to pay you? She asked. No, I said. I seriously expect it. You're insane, she muttered. I said nothing. Insanity doesn't come with printed receipts. Then, a slow rustle broke the tension. Grandma. She sat at the end of the table, hands still, face unreadable. She opened her purse, that worn leather thing that survived more family betrayals than anyone else, and pulled out $300 in crisp bills. She stood, walked over, and placed the money on the table in front of me. I don't owe this, she said quietly, but I'll start. Because someone has to. The room froze. No one breathed. Only the faint hum of a plastic ceiling fan turning through decades. I looked at her. Not shocked. Not moved. Just still. I picked up the cash. Walked to her. Pressed it gently back into her hands. I'm not collecting from you, I said. I'm collecting from them. Because I was the one who paid. She didn't argue. Didn't plead. Just closed her hand around the bills and nodded. My sister's mouth opened, but nothing came out. My mom looked down at her lap like guilt might be hiding in the folds of her skirt. My dad finally spoke. We're family, he said. This isn't how families fix things. I looked him dead in the eye. No. This is how families stay broken. Quiet theft. Loud guilt. Zero math. Then I turned to Grandma. Thank you, I said, for always being the only adult in this room. I walked toward the door. They didn't stop me. Not because they didn't want to. Because they finally understood. There would be no negotiation. No last-minute hugs. No whispers of, we'll figure this out. Just a folder on a table. And silence thick with meaning. The first payment came on a Tuesday. $300 from Dad. No message. Just a notification. Deposit received. John S.R. Thursday, $300 from Mom. Friday, $500 from Sister. Right on schedule. Like she had a calendar labeled redemption. No apologies. No let's talk. Just numbers. Just silence stamped with a bank logo. I didn't respond. Didn't acknowledge. But I didn't stop it either. I let the money carry the weight I had carried for years, quietly. Every week, the same pattern. The same transfers. The same silence. At first, I checked each one. Tracked it. Tallied it. Then I stopped. They weren't messages. They were corrections. I named the folder emotional severance. Every payment got filed. Labeled. Time-stamped. Reimbursement for years of quiet withdrawals. No one tried to call. No one knocked on the door. Maybe they knew the door was still there. But I'd taken away the key. My grandma called once a week. Always the same time. Never dramatic. She told me about the new kettle she bought. The stray cat outside. A doctor's appointment she forgot to go to. She never asked about them. Never tried to fix anything. In week 4, she said, I always hoped someone in our family would grow up before everything fell apart. I smiled into the quiet. You did, I told her. I just followed your lead. I didn't move away. Didn't change my number. Didn't disappear. Stayed right where I was. Same apartment. Same grocery store. Same barista who always forgot the lid. But something had shifted. I bought a car. A new one. Not for anyone else to borrow. Just mine. I signed the papers and smiled when they asked, "Anyone else on the title?" "No," I said. "It's finally just me." I started cooking again. Not to stretch meals across mouths. Just food I liked. Just enough. Leftovers that stayed in my fridge. And I slept. Deeply. Without that ache in my chest that used to whisper, "You forgot something. Someone needs you." No one needed me now. They just owed me. One day I got a letter. A real one. Handwritten. From my mom. "We still love you," it said. "Even if you become cold." I flipped it over. Grabbed a blue Sharpie. Wrote on the back, "I didn't become cold. I just stopped overheating." For people who never noticed the burn. I took it back to the mailbox. No envelope. No stamp. Just returned it like a receipt. Face up. That night, I sat on my balcony. Tea in hand. City humming below me. Another deposit arrived. $500. Sister. Right on time. I didn't open the app. Just smiled. They finally learned how to give back. Not love. Not honesty. Just repayment. And me? I stayed. I lived. I rested. Because for the first time in my life, I had boundaries. And that made me happy.